This is Dr. B from Berlin. I'm speaking down from my bunker in what used to be East Berlin, and I have prepared your weekly psych update. Today we're going to be talking about unhappy and uninspired children. This is going to be a 6-part lecture series, and it was originally developed and delivered for parents and graduate students in the Department of Psychology at the university. Its focus group, well, the human being in general. But I'm particularly interested in the ages of 7 through 17. Why this age group? Well, I'm going to leave that for another discussion, because that has more to do with the temperament and discussions that deal with intelligence and personality disposition. This series deals with what I call the Pike Syndrome. The pike is a huge fish that is primarily a bottom feeder. I had a parent text me from Santa Barbara about her 12-year-old child. She said, "My child is out of control and I am losing my temper." Of course, not an unusual situation for a parent and teachers today, I must add. Children are never out of control. Children are learning how to live, how to survive on this planet. That's what they're doing. That's why they're here. And that's why they have leaders called parents and teachers. But the motto of today is, children are never out of control. Teachers can be out of control. Parents can be out of control. But kids are never out of control. Our job is to observe and determine what they need to learn in order to be successful. In other words, how to be in control. What is the child's next step? What does the child need to learn in order to grow into the person they need to be? It's a mindset parents and caregivers must adapt to. Children are never out of control. Their behavior is telling us what they need to learn. Children who come to us unhappy and uninspired have hit what we call the Pike Syndrome. Pike Syndrome was a study done in Canada. The pike, of course, a bottom feeder fish. A pike's favorite food is the minnow. The scientists put a bell jar over this pike. Then they put minnows all around the jar surrounding the pike. To the pike, it appeared like a banquet buffet. The pike would lurch out at the delicious minnows, but would hit the bell jar in jolting surprise, but more deeply rooted in negative disappointment. So, the pike's reward instincts hit again and again and again and again until negative disappointment rattled him all the way to the bottom. Pretty soon, the pike just sank to the bottom of the tank. The scientists removed the bell jar surrounding the pike, and the minnows continued swimming around in and near the pike. With the environmental threat reduced, the minnows now swim around the lips and the mouth of the pike. Some even rested on the pike's head. With plenty of food in the sea, pike starves to death. We call this uninspired behavior the Pike Syndrome. Children hit the Pike Syndrome usually at, about the 5th grade. Why? Well, they've been going and growing for 7 and 8 years, listening to their parents and teachers chanting every year. This is going to be a great year. Parents and teachers are their leaders. They're generals leading them into battle on this planet that begins with birth and ends in death. Are they safe and confident in their teachers, in their leaders? Well, that depends. Can they create the contributing products needed to be recognized by the tribe, by their community? Or will these young people begin to exhibit destructive and violent acts because they do not know how to contribute and behave in a civilized society? As the Navajo Indians say, if you raise a crow, they'll scratch your eyes out. Now, for the 5th consecutive year, these children hear the same chant. We're going to learn to read. We're going to learn how to write. The child is saying to himself, I still can't even read a comic book. So they hear it year after year after year. And then it finally hits home. the Pike Syndrome. The result is uninspired and unhappy human beings. The tribe's adult reaction? Lord, why are they unhappy and uninspired? I give them anything they want. Maybe they need someone to talk to. I know, a school counselor, a psychologist. I don't know, I've heard that medication may calm them down. Or maybe they just need a sandbox to pound with their fists to get all their anger out. Or maybe not. Or maybe someone needs to teach them directly how to read, write, computate, and maybe even communicate, like when to shake hands, when to make eye contact, all those things that should have learned in kindergarten. It's called teaching them the rules of the tribe, teaching them that this planet has rules that are modeled by adults, by their leaders, that cannot be broken. Children do not make the rules. If they make the rules, it means there are no rules, and the society is chaos, and they will not live through the cycle. If teachers and parents do not teach them the rules and the means to create products to contribute to the tribe in order to receive appreciation and admiration, then the Pike Syndrome has hit home, and they will make up the rules themselves. If the teachers and the parents do not teach them the rules and the means to create products in order to contribute to the tribe for appreciation and admiration, then the Pike Syndrome will hit home, and they will begin to make up the rules themselves. This is why we have graffiti all over the city. These kids have their own games and their own initiations and their own morality, and they are doing the best they can since we have abandoned them. But they're dangerous because their own laws are not those of the laws of the city. We have not initiated them into our society. They have begun to initiate us into their chaos. It's pretty incredible. Actually, it's weird, but it's not a mystery. The ramifications of the Pike Syndrome, it's quite evident in most nations of the world today. Doubt? Read any newspaper. Generation Z poignantly questions whether the adults should be enforcing the rules of society and whether the elderly should live or die. Very weird. And yet it's simple. It's the Pike Syndrome. How to turn it around? Well, tune in next week, parents and teachers, to turn around this topsy-turvydom. The Pike Syndrome. Children hitting the wall because they cease to believe their parents and teachers, because the contract of leadership has been broken too many times. When children are taught the rules, the basic rules, complacency is not the result. What if I just give them something they want and demand? TV and the video games, gizmos, and food on demand. Consequences? Obesity, disrespect, anger, and violence. Is your reward for slothful leadership? The answers are so simple. Denial, learning to earn, and learning age-appropriate basic competencies. Ones not defined by the state. One letter at a time until mastery. Respect is the outcome and trust. Like the cat, it kills the mouse and brings it to the master's feet. The master's response? Direct reward with a physical stroke and a pat. That's called primary reinforcers. I've been turning around the Pike Syndrome in schools and homes for 35 years. There are only 15 rules, but they must be taught to mastery in the parents, and the teachers must define the primary and secondary reinforcers that they can use consistently as we adults utilize them daily. Why does this Pike Syndrome surface at the 4th and 5th grade? How do we begin? Where do we begin? Well, the rules of intellect and social structure must be taught directly and understood. Tune in next week. This is Dr. B reminding you that we are not alone.